What is the one truth that is given to us by all the religions of the world? You know, there are around 4,200 plus documented religions that are present right now. And we don't know how many thousands of religions were there in the past. And of course, every religion and every philosophy will tell us that its book is right, its way is right, and its teaching is right. And most of the religions also say that all other paths are wrong and all other religions are wrong. But what is the commonality between each and every religion? What is the one thing that all religions tell us? Today we are discussing something very interesting and valuable, because once we figure out that truth that all religions are pointing us towards, we will uncover the nature of reality itself. So make sure to tune in till the end to know the truth behind all religions of the world. The Advaita channel is about conscious living and conscious creation. Here we explore Vedanta and various spiritual teachings from India to understand the nature of reality and to consciously create our lives. And make sure to hit like and subscribe to help us spread this knowledge. First, let us start with Buddhism. Now, before we go ahead, I will let you know here that I'm not an expert in each of these particular religions or philosophies. This is simply based on my little research on this subject. And if I go wrong anywhere, you're welcome to correct me in the comment section. So, let's talk about Buddhism. Within Buddhism, the first concept that I wanted to discuss is the concept of shunyata. Shunyata emphasizes the inherent absence of independence within each and every one of us. Shunyata simply says that there is actually no independent existence as such. Whether it is an object, whether it is an animal, or whether it is a person, within us there is nothing called the self, says shunyata. Shunyata emphasizes the inherent absence of independent existence in all phenomena. And this emptiness is not nihilistic or void, although it may seem like that from the surface. Shunyata talks about a fundamental essence, and it is delicately telling us that there is no independent self as such. And what there is beyond words. And this refers to the interconnectedness and the dependent existence of human beings and of this universe itself. So this simply denies the independent existence of the individual ego or identity. And there is another concept in Buddhism called Tathagata Garbha. This is called as Buddha nature. And this concept tells us that there is inherent potential within every object and within every human being to be enlightened and to liberate himself. Tathagata Garbha suggests that all beings possess the potential for enlightenment and the qualities of Buddha within them. So even this concept is telling us that there is one pure existence and one absolute reality which we can call the Buddha nature, which lies within each and every one of us, and we have the potential to access it. So these two concepts suggest interconnectedness, and they suggest that there is no duality in this world. So what we are getting to by looking at different religions and philosophies is to uncover the truth about universal oneness, about non-duality. Now, let's look at Christianity. And here I'll read some of the verses and we will discuss how all these are pointing us towards that same teaching. John 10:30 says, I and the Father are one. And John 14:9 says, whoever has seen me has seen the Father. And the Corinthians 6:17 says, but he who is joined to the Lord becomes one spirit with him. So what are all these verses saying? These verses are saying that there is one God, there is one truth, and everything else is derivative, and everything else is a dependent reality. And there is one absolute independent reality, and that is the Father. And Jesus Christ says He is the complete expression of that independent reality. And He says, "Who has seen me has seen the Father," indicating that He represents that infinite, absolute, pure consciousness or God. And Swami Vivekananda used to say, most of the Christians have missed the entire point of Bible and the teachings of Christ. In one of his lectures, he goes on to explain the intricate details of Bible and the teachings of Christ to enlighten humanity. So even through the teaching of Christianity, we can understand that there is only one absolute God and everything else is dependent on that God. In section 3, let us look at the Sufi tradition and what the Sufi teachings talk about this. In the Sufi tradition, the concept called Tawhid holds a special significance. Tawhid refers to the oneness of God and the underlying unity in all creation. It tells us that everything is ultimately one and everything is connected. And also the idea of fana and baka in Sufism, often translated as annihilation or extinction, refers to the dissolution of the individual ego and the merging of the self into the divine. And through artistic devotional practices, Sufis seek to transcend limitations of ego and experience oneness with divine. With this, let's come to part 4 and let us talk about Taoism. Although Taoism directly does not talk about universal oneness as such, but the principles and the concepts in Taoism suggest unity and suggest interconnectedness. In Taoism, Tao refers to the way. This represents the underlying principle of the universe, and this encompasses both the source and force behind everything. And Tao Te Ching, a foundational Taoist text, emphasizes the interconnectedness of all things and the harmony of the universe. The Tao is described as the ultimate reality that transcends dualistic concepts and encompasses both manifest and unmanifest aspects of existence. And in this way, even Taoism is talking about the same reality. Now, in part 5, let us come to the teachings of Advaita Vedanta. If you have been following the channel, you understand the teachings of Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta is a very deep philosophy that shows us the nature of reality as it is. Advaita tells us directly that there is one absolute reality in existence, and that is the existence itself. And it is pure consciousness. That is what we can call God. And everything else is a dependent reality. The universe, the animals, the birds, me and you, all of us are dependent realities who derive their existence from that infinite consciousness. To explain this, Chandogya Upanishad says, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, which means everything is pure consciousness and every aspect of this existence is that Brahman or consciousness. But then the Upanishad goes on to say, Tattvamasi, you are it, you are that infinite pure consciousness. So you are not this body and mind and this individual ego, but instead you are that infinite consciousness within whom the universe itself has emerged. So you are one with God, says Chandogya Upanishad. I want to mention here that this video is not about reducing one religion to another and reducing one philosophy to another. Of course, each religion has its own philosophy, has its own thought process, has its own set of teachings and frameworks on which it is dependent on. But what I was thinking from a long time was about the commonalities between these teachings and these philosophies. What are they pointing us toward? Is there any common ground? So this video is simply about that, to find some instances where each of these philosophies and religions have told us or have pointed us towards that same reality. And this became even more evident to me once I started studying Advaita Vedanta. Once I began to understand the teachings of Advaita, it became more and more clear to me what other books and other teachings were pointing us toward in their own way, through their own language and through their own metaphors. Like we discussed, Buddhism talks about Shunyata, and it teaches that all phenomena lack inherent independent existence, pointing towards the idea that everything is interconnected and everything is simply appearing to exist. Similarly, I could find a lot of parallels in Christianity. The concept of immanence of God, the idea that God is present in all things, these are mentioned in many parts of Christian teachings. And the mystical traditions within Christianity, such as the works of Meister Eckhart, emphasize the unity of all existence in God. And beyond the boundaries of organized religion, if we look at different philosophical traditions, for example, in the works of philosophers like Plato and Plotinus, the concept of the one or the good reflects a similar understanding of a transcendent, all-encompassing reality. In Sufism, there is the idea of Tawhid, which align with the core principles of non-duality found in Advaita Vedanta. So what does all this tell us? This points us towards the universal nature of the truth, that God exists and everything else is dependent on God. And in this way, everything is God or pure consciousness. Across different cultures, traditions, and belief systems, there is a shared recognition of this interconnectedness of all existence and the underlying unity of the cosmos. And through all this understanding, we need to start accepting our fellow human beings, and we need to start accepting nature and the entire universe as an expression of our own self, and we need to accept the entire humanity as a part of ourself. Through this, we can go beyond the division, beyond wars, beyond discrimination, and experience unity and harmony on this planet. And even the teachings from many of these religions and philosophies are pointing us toward that same truth. They are talking about universal oneness, they are talking about one independent existence, they are talking about one God, and they are talking about the universe and all of us being dependent on that one independent existence for our own life. And I think this is a very important thing for us to do, to find a common ground and to find the places where each of these religions coincide and tell us the truth about this reality. In this way, we can get a holistic perspective on the nature of reality. Now, if you want to understand the nature of consciousness in greater depth, one of the famous Upanishads is the Kenopanishad. And through the cryptic verses of Kenopanishad, one can begin to grasp the nature of this pure consciousness. And we had made a video on the teachings of Kenopanishad on consciousness. So make sure to check out this video next. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I'll see you on the next one. If you liked the video, check out this next and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you and welcome to our community.